Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
All right, hello. Welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're doing number 89, I think it is. Or yeah, I can't
90?
even remember which number it is.
Let's I got it right here. 91.
Oh, 91. Okay. All right.
Still up there.
So, yeah. Whoops. Getting ahead of myself. All right. Number 91, at least according to the October list.
Yes.
And it is a Turkish comedy titled Recep Ivedik 5, I think is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to listen to it in the movie, but it went by way too fast.
Yeah.
Talking.
Yeah.
It was not meant for outside of Turkey, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think it was. It is. So I guess I don't know. Do either you want to try to explain the plot, or do you want me to try?
I mean, it's weird. Like Turkey's when I was thinking of IMDB bottom 100, I kind of forgot like the I in the IMDB.
Yeah,
this is
that's
definitely
right.
an international film. Like,
Yeah.
and like I don't know. I feel comedy kind of is fairly cultural. Like very few things can definitely break over. Very, very few. Especially something as different. Like we can get some, British or UK, European comedy, kind of well-ish. Some cultural things will be a little mismatched, but something as different as a Middle Eastern kind of. I think Turkey's Middle Eastern, right? I don't know.
I think so.
It's like close to that region, I believe, but not like complete. It's I believe south of, or well, I'm not exactly sure 100%, but it's sort of like near that region, is from what I understand. So
it's near Asia too, I think, because they made Chinese people.
Yeah.
All I know,
it's like it's right in the middle of like everything, like Europe, China, near Africa, and the Middle East.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know about Turkey is the capital is Istanbul.
Yeah.
Which we used to be Constantinople.
Yes. Yes, it did.
So, I mean, if you have a date in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul. and even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way.
Oh, man. I remember that album. Wow.
I love They Might Be Giants.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I used to like them a lot. I haven't listened to them for a while, but
yeah, and I tried not to sing that just so we don't get struck down.
It's tempting though, because like once you say that, like the lyric, you gotta kind of finish it, So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. So I guess. All right. Well, okay. I did kind of read about this movie, these because there, as the title implies, there's 5. Actually, there's more than 5 of them. And so this
I
is
assumed.
yeah, and this is the 5th entry. And before I watched it, I watched some clips from the other movies, and like I didn't watch any of them like in full, but I did watch clips of them, and like.
Oh, well, can I say before you actually explain it? Because I went in blind and wanted to just guesstimate what it is.
Yeah, I did too.
So is it, I assume from what I saw of the 5th movie of this series, is that this is some type of character that apparently is probably good in Turkey, since there's 5 of them. And I think that, like, I guess just my understanding of the films is he's a truck driver and he gets himself into wacky situations.
Well, I mean, Yeah, basically, like it's like from watching clips, what I was able to ascertain was it's pretty much just like pretty consistent sort of series of like fish out of water adventures involving this gentleman who he's kind of oafish, kind of like a sort of I mean I don't want to call him like a negative stereotype, but like he does sort of fulfill the kind of like chauvinistic sort of like macho aggressor type of sort of prototype, I guess. Yeah.
He's an asshole.
I mean, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
As far as like, as far as like foreign film types, I can see like the somewhat of the American influence of a brash, loudmouth, annoying dickhead character that you might find in one of these. This is like I could see this being an American film as well, even though the jokes didn't land or come across.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the overall impression I got of these movies overall is that it's pretty much just a series of oddball misadventures following this one guy who basically just like bullies people and pushes people around like constantly, like all the time, left and right, and then like he manages to somehow get through life just by sheer whim, and usually he doesn't seem to ever learn anything. Based on the clips I saw of the other movies, this character is fairly consistent.
I mean, he had no change in this movie. He was straightforward. There was no arc at all.
Yeah, in fact, he actually kind of
I say, oh, maybe the only arc happened in the first movie of a character, but what could have he have been before this? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to watch. I mean, the thing is, though, like, I don't really have the time to be sitting around all day watching Recep Ivedik films. I mean, I just don't.
Oh hell no!
It's just one of those things. Like,
no, because these type of movies do exist here, and I don't like them like our versions of them. So
that's the thing. It's not that far removed from a lot of like lowbrow American comedies. I mean, I feel more or less the same way about this one as I do like a lot of movies. I'll just put it that way. And it's weird though, because like this movie, it's probably one of the longest movies we've watched on this show.
Jesus
like,
fucking Christ, yes it was.
It
was
dumb. It's pushing 2 hours. It's like only a few minutes shy of 2 hours.
Yeah, 152.
Yeah,
and it drags.
Oh my god, yeah. I like stopped at 15 minutes in to like take a pee break or something.
Yeah,
and I saw that it was that long after. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah. But what's weird about it though is, despite how long it is, like, there's really almost nothing to say about it. Like, it's pretty much just, it's kind of just the same scenario again and again and again. Like, he acts ridiculous. Either he humiliates the people around him, or he gets humiliated, or some variation of the two. And then the plot just kind of goes on, and it's kind of like a series of episodes, which if this were like a short film, I would enjoy it probably just about as well as anything, really.
Probably could work better as a series. Yeah,
like as like a series of short films, I could see this kind of thing being perfectly enjoyable, because you wouldn't have to watch them all at once, but because it's like the same scenario, again and again and again for almost 2 hours, like eventually, like it does kind of become quite a chore. About an hour in, actually I'd say maybe even 40 minutes in, I was just about ready to call it quits.
Oh yeah, me too. Like, because I could see what they were doing. Like, because I guess we should throw the backdrop down. Is it's him trying to do like one of his friends died. Taking over taking over his responsibilities at some youth athletic competition.
Yeah,
it's again, it was kind of hard to tell when reading subtitles of just some random
I mean, you more
don't know that.
You more or less nailed it. Like he's at a funeral for somebody who he might have met him in a previous movie, I don't know, but
Yeah.
the woman was like, oh, he was a driver and he had one last job, and so the main character, our lovely hero, decides to take up the duty and fulfill the final job that he was gonna complete, which was to drive some athletic some Turkish athletes to sort of a, not an Olympic thing, but like more just like basically like a sports event, but of like a wide variety, but not the Olympics, only because it isn't like all encompassing,
It was so what the thing was too. It was a youth athletic thing,
right?
And so the major plot to get him involved in it was that, they were doing the bus drive to it.
Mm-hmm.
They needed
Don't
to
they get
stop.
like
Yeah,
like
they
food
needed
poisoning or something?
Yeah, they needed to stop for food, and he like puts fucking like a giant bowl of it's like chili, and he starts like throwing motor oil in it and shit. And all the male athletes eat it, but all the females were like no. And they all got super sick, and male athlete, most, I think 90% at least, couldn't, or all of them couldn't participate.
Yeah.
So he calls in his trucker buddies to fill in.
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
And it's a youth athlete, and they have to bypass, make up that they're still young. So he and it's dropped pretty fast as well, because, well, I'll just say that my first thought was that that I thought was funny, at least one of the little funny gags, was that the way that Red, whatever his name is,
Recep.
yeah, Recep, he was, and we're not making fun of it. We just don't know how.
It's hard to pronounce.
Don't
Turkish
hate us.
names.
Don't cancel us. We just don't know how to pronounce it.
We're good, I swear.
It was like the story he made up was like the guy was checking him. He was like, you're 19, and he was like, yeah. There was a mix-up. My brother died, and I took over his ID. And that passed. Like, no, I'm not really 19, but my brother died. There was some paperwork malfunctioning, and I took over his age. Okay.
And the guy was like, oh, got it. And then they just like moved as if it was nothing.
And then the rest of the truck drivers, they were just like, yeah, he's just a hairy guy. He's just hit puberty early. Like, because they're all old, fat truck drivers.
Yeah, they had like full beards, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then like after that, like they basically get involved in these sort of almost like X game type,
it's more Olympic-y, I'd say.
Yeah,
it is
it's
more
closer
Olympic.
to,
They have like that throwing the heavy ball and the high jumps and shit, relay races.
And surprisingly, it goes pretty well for them, actually. Like they managed to, do okay. Although they kind of like bend the rules a lot.
Bananas, because the girls, so I don't, of course, I'm not knowing if this is a cultural thing or not, or just a character thing. He shat on the girls for, not eating the food. And then they're, of course, actually competing and doing well, but they give them no props or anything.
Yeah. Which the thing is, to a certain extent, I actually can sort of understand the appeal of this movie, because like I could imagine that, like, okay, so let's say that I lived in Turkey, right? And let's say that I was in an audience and everybody in the audience happened to have a really strong like sense of irony.
That's what's hard to tell if it was irony or not. Just because of the language barrier. we're reading subtitles and we can't really tell what the language inflections are.
Well, I don't know for sure if it was intended to be ironic, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was, because I mean, at first I sort of wanted to think, oh, maybe this is intended to be kind of like a character who's sort of nationalistic, but also sort of like a misfit in his own sort of country or something like that. But then like I eventually like I don't know, the repetition of the scenes and the fact that it was like pretty much just the same like event again and again and again, and the same like kinds of scenarios again and again. Eventually, I kind of was like, okay, like this has to be done for like this had to have been done badly on purpose. Like, maybe that's just their style of humor. I mean,
I know
I
that
don't
they
know.
were yelling at each other a lot, and I know that's because I have like, if Turkey is Middle Eastern, I have like my sisters are half Lebanese from Lebanon, and I know they at least talk loud. And like I worked with some of them over a summer, and they like when they're on the phone, they were just yelling at each other. It seemed like,
Yeah,
don't want to like, I'm not making any judgments, but like
yeah, that's how it goes.
very, I mean, it's again, it's not, you know, foreign. There are American comedies where there's just a bunch of yelling at each other and shit like that too. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, even though, and my guess, because in my opinion, like, I mean, this isn't my kind of movie, but I don't really think that it's necessarily like a badly made movie.
no, it looked nice. It looked like it had a budget, which is again, I'm
Yeah.
surprised at like
That's
the I
surprising.
and the I, the I in the IMDb that they obviously can throw enough money around to get 5 movies that look, I'm assuming, look as good as the 5th.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Fairly poorly shot. I mean,
Then
it
this.
wasn't anything like crazy, like, but it was, they had good equipment and shit. Like, at least,
Yeah, the lighting was good. What were you about to say, Zach?
I was gonna say, yeah, cinematography was actually really good.
Yeah,
yeah. So they
yeah,
knew what they were doing, and as far as making a movie.
yeah. This, and like you could tell. I mean, you could tell what was going on. It's like the framing and everything. This was not a badly made movie at all. And my guess is the reason it's on the bottom 100 is because I did look this movie up, and it's the highest grossing. It was the highest grossing movie in Turkey, and
Of that
like
year, or like
just
of total.
I mean, as far as I can tell, it was the most highest grossing film that has ever been released in Turkey.
To
Like
that date, or like what one was this
like
one
just
made?
period. I'm pretty sure. I think it's like the
Even
most
as it
like,
stands now.
yeah, I think it's like the
Okay.
most high, like it's the Turkish film that has made the most money out of all Turkish movies, from what I understand. And so
The fifth movie, and
yeah, which I think is kind of
possible.
interesting. It's interesting because this is the movie that has like a lot of like international stuff going on. Like it has like a lot of Greek like characters and Russian characters, and like you mentioned, the Chinese characters, and
That's the
most of
thing.
them
Is yeah. I mean, keep going with your yeah.
and mostly the main character like kind of just spends the whole movie making fun of them for being Greek or Russian or Chinese or
Yes. Yep.
basically anybody who isn't him. So
Or Turkey in general, like, because I noticed that this was very pro Turkey. They weren't fucking around. They weren't like
yeah,
making like American does, like satire on ourselves, making fun of ourselves. But this was like, no, we're Turkey, we're the shit vibes coming
yeah,
out of whatever they were doing. Because for all, like, for what it's worth, these old fat truckers were kicking ass and
yeah,
against these youthful, for the first like couple of minutes. Like, what's funny is like the first events where, yeah, you could tell they might be youths, but like in the last few, they totally dropped the youth pretense. There were dudes that were definitely older and had beards just as well as the Turkish man. And
yeah.
so it's like, okay, they just dropped the youth thing 30% into the movie.
Pretty much. Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't really bother to go over it or like keep going with it. I think but yeah, no, you are right though. It was very pro Turkey. I mean, you could see Turkish flags everywhere, like and that's fine. I mean, I could see like again, like some people seeing this and maybe it's like the kind of thing where like you're proud of your country and you see a movie that really kind of celebrates it, but in a weird kind of way. It's like, I could see how that sort of thing would be likable. It's kind of like I guess what would be the equivalent of that maybe in America, like maybe like the Ballad of Ricky Bobby perhaps, or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not like
I feel that's still satirical too, though. I
yeah,
mean, again, it's hard to judge this a foreign film if we can't really
yeah,
understand if this was satire or not, or
yeah.
just a crazy character.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it was that the humor was intended to be ironic and that it was supposed to be kind of like it was supposed to be poking fun, but also be like kind of sincere at the same time. That's my guess. So, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, is there anything else really to say about it?
This guy is somehow a super athlete. I wanted to mention that. Like this most
Recep?
the most out of shape
Yeah.
guy you could imagine is somehow this super fucking athlete.
Oh yeah, he's like
that's
Superman.
that's one thing why I don't necessarily know if it was satire, because of how well the truckers did
Yeah.
and represented Turkey. It wasn't necessarily funny at all. Like no, they did well against, all these athletes and making fun of all these, like, I think Turkey hates Greece. For some, like there's
Yeah,
that
well,
hatred for Greece, I feel, in general,
yeah,
like in an actual real world situation. And they're just shitting
yeah,
on Greece the whole time.
yeah, pretty much. Which I don't know. Maybe they were just shitting on them because they were all really attractive looking. That's like my only guess.
Yeah,
That's
and
like
like if I were,
yeah. Go on.
and I mean, I'm saying if it was more satirical, I feel like they would have won with goofier, because this is a comedy, goofier type. Oh, somebody tripped and randomly, I don't know, fucking made it from goofy, funny situations. But no, they straight up competed legit and won as fat
Yeah.
truckers
Yeah. I mean,
against athletes. So I'm just like, this must be a pro Turkey fucking film more than a satire.
it's possible. And actually, that's sort of like where, like, in certain ways, that's kind of where I feel like there's some irony. Is like because I do feel like, I mean, they didn't like hammer it home, but they did tend to like emphasize the fact that the main character was overweight, and like they had like these shots of him kind of bumbling around, and like you could tell they were trying to like sort of make light of the fact that he was overweight and out of shape and stuff, and sort of really we're focusing on that, and suddenly he's able to lift these like massive
But
barbells.
right at the end of the day, he got the job done with ease.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, like for that relay race part, like I don't know if it was the final one, but there's no like he was dead last and they fucked around. Like the joke was like, it was one of those baton pass ones, and like they fucked around with him. The one passing it to him was like shoving it up his ass, and they spent like a good 20 seconds like, stop it. So they were just sitting there. So the others theoretically probably would have finished in a real race by the time he even started running. But no, he just, a fat man booked it past all these athletes and won. So, I mean,
yeah. And then everybody celebrates and everybody's like, yeah, go Turkey. Wow. And they're like practically screaming that in the camera's face that Turkey is the best.
Yeah.
Credits.
Yeah.
Very much.
Like the montage at the end too wasn't funny. It was like, yeah, Turkey's the best, kind of.
I actually did laugh though, right? Like once the credits rolled, I actually did laugh. That was the first laugh that I got, was when the credits appeared. Because it just seems so random. It was like such a random way to end the movie. There was no epilogue or anything. It was like they're all celebrating and then cut to credits.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed. I mean, I actually do like. I have seen a few Turkish movies that I do like. I haven't seen any. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any Turkish comedies. This would be the first Turkish comedy I've seen. On the basis of this one, I mean, maybe I'll watch the first film in the series out of curiosity, but I'm not really super excited to watch the rest of them. I don't picture myself having a marathon of these movies anytime soon. So
I considered it, but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
I didn't consider it.
Yeah. And also I looked up the running times, and several of them are like close to 2 hours. Not all of them, but several of them are pretty long. And I'm like, that's a lot of Recep Ivedik movies to be watching. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of about it. Like, as a movie, like, I'd give it probably like a 2 or a 3, but personally, like, it just wasn't my kind of movie, and I personally would give it a 1, so
Yeah, I give it a 1 too.
1. Yeah, 1's
Yeah.
all around.
yeah. Not as bad as like a lot of the other movies on the IMDb bottom 100, in my opinion. I don't think it deserves to be on there, and I don't think you guys feel I feel like you guys agree.
Yeah, especially if it's the highest grossing movie in its own country, it definitely shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's surprising, that info, because I don't imagine a lot of other countries voting for it, right? Like, I've
I mean,
never.
I'm guessing that there's a lot of people in this world who, actually, go look at the films that are top grossing in other countries and check them out. And I have a feeling that a lot of people just weren't fans of the vulgar humor and the kind of cheap lowbrowness of this in general. Like, I think it really is kind of just more of a cultural thing ultimately.
Yeah,
So,
but the thing, what I mean is, like, that's a smaller fraction than what the voters must be, mostly Turkey, who voted this down.
it's
I
possible.
assume. So I mean, maybe all 4 before this were great, and then this just happened to do really well, like the first few
Maybe.
weeks.
Another
And
possibility.
then, but everyone realized it sucked a couple weeks down the line.
Well, I mean, another possibility is that, like, okay, so Pauly Shore's movies made a shit ton of money. Everybody hates Pauly Shore, but they still made money. So it's possible that these movies are actually not very well liked in Turkey because of how popular they are.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
I can
a possibility
see
too.
that. Yeah.
So that's another guess. So it's definitely a curiosity. I'm glad I watched it, but yeah, that's about all I can say.
Yeah, it was interesting to see another side of. I've never seen a Turkish film.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I have, but
Well,
definitely not a comedy.
Well, I mean, if you want like a good Turkish movie, one recent one that came out a few years ago was Mustang. I do recommend that. I think it's still on Netflix. So, but yeah.
Yeah, if I have seen a Turkish movie, it's probably horror.
I've seen Turkish Batman. I've seen Turkish Superman, because there's some crappy like Turkish ripoff movies of like superhero films and like popular Hollywood movies that came out like decades ago that were really low budget, and they're pretty dumb, but those exist. So anyway, all right, I guess that just about sums up Recep Ivedik 5.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. All right, until next time, peace and love.
Yeah, stay safe.